monkey branching and divorce. This is the topic for today's video. I've got a very good email to share with all of you from a subscriber called Carl, and he details throughout his email all of the red flags he overlooked, the woman he married, slowly how their relationship started to crumble, and then ultimately he found out she betrayed him, monkey branched on him, and divorced him. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to break down his entire situation because there is a lot of value and lessons to extract from it that you can apply to your life so that you can make a better decision when you choose a woman, because that is your responsibility as a man. So to start this off, I'm going to lead with a Bible verse, a quote that I want you to keep in the back of your mind throughout this entire video. Proverbs 14 verse 1. A wise woman builds her home, but the foolish one tears it down with her own hands. You think about that. Now let's get right into his email. Hi Christian, hope you are well. I've been meaning to send my story for a while. I really enjoy your content and you show maturity beyond your years, so compliments to yourself. Carl, I really appreciate that. Thank you. So my story, it's a long one. My ex-wife and I got together as she was friends with my sister-in-law from when they were kids. So it was the usual story. Good times, sex while dating, and I thought she seemed like a really fun girl. She didn't even sleep with me for 6 months, and I thought this was a big plus. Now, this is when it could be a red flag. You see, guys, if a woman explicitly tells you that she's a virgin, typically she's also going to be young, right? She's a virgin. She tells you this. She explicitly communicates to you that she wants to keep her purity and she's very careful to give that out and that she wants to take it extremely slow. But she will also let you know that she's into you and her behavior will show you that. If a woman doesn't explicitly tell you something like this, then if she's making you wait 6 months, what you are dealing with is a woman that does sleep around. But because now she's looking to settle down, she knows that a man of value will never take her seriously if he were to find out that she was promiscuous, that she sleeps around with everybody. Therefore, in order to present an image that she's a woman of value and that she's pure and innocent, what she's going to do is make him wait for 6 months. Because now he's going to think, wow, she's making me wait for 6 months. Therefore, other guys in the past that she may or not have been with, she also made them wait too. So she must be a good girl that values herself. When in reality, she's doing that as a presentation of a false image, so that he now thinks he has a good catch. Wow, she's a great woman. So he lowers his guard. Therefore, he can now relax. He overlooks the red flags and he thinks, I've got a good girl. So that's something to think about. And also that lets me know that this woman has very low attraction towards him. She's definitely not physically attracted to him enough. And she's lowering her standards and settling to be with him. Because if she's really into you, eventually she's going to want to be intimate and physical with you. And she's really not going to wait that long. So if a woman's waiting 6 months, guys, yeah, you might want to, unless you're watching this and you're in high school or you're like 19, 20, and as I said, this girl's virgin and pure. Unless it's that, then if she's waiting 6 months, that's something you might want to look into. Now, when I look back, there were red flags everywhere. Red flag number 1. I can remember my ex-wife, then, when she was my girlfriend, saying that I normally only go out with drop-dead gorgeous blokes. What is she basically telling him? I'm not into you. I'm not attracted to you. I'm not attracted to you, but you know what? You're better than nothing. I'll settle for you. This woman has lowered her standards to be with him. Therefore, even if he builds the emotional attachment, even if he's masculine and strong, it's never going to be enough because that chemistry isn't there. There's not enough to cause that spark, that flame to where there's passion and desire. He's always going to be more into her than she's into him. There's never going to be mutual, reciprocal, high interest. That's going to be a problem. She's given up, basically, and said, he's better than nothing. Red flag number 1. Red flag number 2. She always liked having compliments from not only me, but from anyone else. Women that have a healthy self-esteem will only want attention from their loved ones and their relatives, parents, family, siblings, husband, boyfriend, their dog or their cat. Women that have an unhealthy self-esteem will not only want that type of attention, but external validation from strangers, which means, she will also want compliments from other women to compare and compete with and give herself a reference point of how hot she is. But also, this type of woman will eventually want validation from other men because she's not happy within herself. She needs to look outward to feel good, which is temporary. And she needs to constantly up the dose of that validation, which leads to very bad things, as we're going to see. So, as you can see, 2 big red flags already. I also knew a bit about her past from my sister-in-law, and she said that she came from a broken home. Her dad was a doorman who liked to drink and physically abused her, her brother, and she also had a narcissistic mother who was very overbearing to her while she was growing up. He says, my ex-wife also ended up like this with our own son. Her parents eventually divorced. Her mum possibly had an affair, but my father-in-law couldn't be sure. I don't like the word affair. It's betrayal. It's cheating. Don't romanticize. So, she comes from a broken home. What have I said to you before? There's nothing wrong with a woman coming from a damaged home. Many men and women do. The difference is, she will tell you, you know what, I came from a difficult childhood, but I've worked through those issues. I'm okay now. But if a woman makes it known to you that she had a very harsh upbringing, abusive father, neglectful mother in this case, and she has not recovered from that, then that childhood trauma is going to carry on and she will bleed on you too. Because narcissistic mother, a father who's abusive to her, she doesn't have a good reference of what a real man should be. She does not know how to trust in a man, what to look for in a man, how to appreciate a good man, how to interact with a good man. Her mother has given her example of horrible, rude, abusive behavior. Therefore, she also doesn't have a blueprint of how to be a good feminine woman. So not only does she not know how to be womanly, she doesn't know what to look for in a man. Therefore, this is going to cause her to become demoralized, and any values and standards she has will break down, and she will typically become selfish, narcissistic, more vain, and due to the insecurity she has from her childhood, this will really damage her self-worth. These type of women do not make good wives and mothers, guys. And those parents got divorced, which is also going to hurt her even more, because she sees from a young age, well, relationships don't work out. And that can really affect her outlook on life and relationships. Something else to think about. Plenty of red flags going on. So, anyways, fast forward. We moved in together after about a year. That's way too soon. You're still in limerence. You don't know who she is. You haven't seen her on a good day, on a bad day. You don't know her lifestyle, what she could possibly be hiding from you. That's way too soon. And if she's a good quality woman, she's also going to be cautious to move in right away because due to the fact that she values herself, she wants to protect her self-worth and think to herself, I don't want to end up a single mum or abused by this guy. Therefore, I want to take things slow to determine if he's a good match for me, if he's going to make a good husband or a good father to my children. So she would also want to take things very, very slowly. But instead, she ramps it up and wants to move in with him after a year. Big mistake on both ends. So, and then we were married the year after. You don't marry someone in 2 years. The only type of women that will want to marry you in less than 3 or 4 years are going to be gold diggers, users, or damaged goods. That's it. Good quality feminine women will happily take 2 to 3, 4 years minimum of courting and dating you and experiencing you to determine, after the limerence has died down, if you have chemistry, if you really have that compatibility, if there really is a connection that can withstand the test of time from a place of honesty and integrity, not from a place of lust and insecurity and fantasy stage. Something to think about as well. Be very careful, guys. Do not make this mistake because it will bite you in the arse. So moved in after a year, married after 2 years. And this is the woman that told him, I only go out with drop-dead gorgeous men. She's not even into him. It's going to not work out very well. So only after 2 years, but then she had already started to show controlling tendencies with money, with how and what we would, with why and how we were doing things. I probably had the bad nice guy tendencies back then. So the next stage was obviously to start a family. And this was 3 years after we were married. This was a very traumatic experience and we had to go through IVF twice. Once was failed, but in the end my son was born and so our little family was complete. This is the only good thing that came out of this was your son. This is when things really started to show up. Her real relationship with her mother started to appear. There were numerous arguments with her, mainly over our son. So her mum would disappear for months, sending the odd abusive text and nasty messages to her own daughter. She would then turn up with no apology. That's very narcissistic because due to a narcissist's lack of empathy, they never give heartfelt apologies. And they think they're better than everyone, therefore why would they give you an apology if they're so above and beyond everybody else? And she would just carry on as if nothing happened. This was all alien to me as I come from a solid, close family, with my mum and dad still together, and I'm close with my brother and sister. See, Carl came from a good family, which is why he has these good morals, values, and standards for himself. However, he made the mistake of leading with his lust, thinking he could change her, love her, into being a good woman. That's not the case. So for him, it's all alien to see how abusive his ex-wife's relationship was with her parents because he came from such a normal, healthy background. Right? So I always felt sorry for my ex-wife's stepdad, a lovely man who I'm still close to now. I would imagine he got reeled in as my mother-in-law has always been a very attractive woman, whatever her age. And this is the downfall of most men. They have no control over their lust. They bypass and overlook any red flag, any issues, just because they want to be with a beautiful woman. And what you need to understand is the looks is just the outer shell. Guys, she can look feminine here, but if she's not feminine here and she's not feminine here, then she's not a feminine woman and she's never going to be good to you. So the stepdad got reeled in and he's also getting abused by the narcissistic mother. What a coincidence. Her mum was also very entitled. Always thought she was better than everyone else. She's narcissistic. To be fair, she had always been really good to me. It doesn't excuse her bad behaviour. The way she treats her daughter, she turned her daughter into a monster. So our marriage is what I would typically imagine a lot of marriages are. The kids arrive, the wife libido disappears. I became the typical overweight, resentful husband who couldn't do enough and it was never right. No, the problem here is you entered the relationship with her leading, not you. Because you chose a woman that wasn't physically into you. Therefore, how could she possibly submit to you? Any dominance, any strength you show is going to see it like an attack in her eyes because she's not into you. She's going to look at you like think, oh, she's trying to be a man. I'm not even into you. I don't want to follow your lead. This is what happens when you get involved with a woman that doesn't have the physical desire for you. It will never be enough. And a lot of women like this that marry a guy very quickly because they're using him, they're looking for that security or that provision. What happens is they have the kid out of security and then their libido drops because they were never into you. They've got the mortgage, they've got the child, so they know if they divorce you, they've got the child support. Why would they need to do anything else to keep you interested? Because she's not into you. She was only into you for what you could do for her. Whereas if she was a genuine feminine woman, she would want to be intimate with you and passionate and make love to you. This is what happens when you choose the wrong woman, guys. And that's a stigma you see in society. Oh, that's how most marriages are. The kids arrive and then the wife doesn't want to have sex. That's not true. Unless she thinks you're a beta male and you're low value and she's with you for the wrong reasons, then yes, that will be your reality. But you ask any man that has a good woman in his life, they have 2, 3, 4 kids. She's all over him because he's masculine. She's naturally feminine. They mesh, they're healthy. they have a good relationship. Those couples, they have a great sex life. And then obviously, he said, I became the typical overweight, resentful husband who couldn't do enough. This lets me know that your needs weren't met in that relationship, and you're using food as a coping mechanism to meet your needs. You're using what is called emotional eating to satisfy the desires that your wife isn't giving you. So, but he did say, I'm aware as a mentally healthy guy of my own shortcomings and flaws. Absolutely. So obviously, Carl has self-awareness, which means he can work on himself, and that's a good thing. Carrying on. I was always a hands-on dad, but my ex-wife got more and more demanding. I couldn't deal with anything and just couldn't leave our son alone to grow. She was constantly worrying, is he hungry? Is he warm enough? I would be in the back of the car with him, and she would forever be looking back around to check on him. And I would always have to remind her not to worry and to focus on the driving so he wouldn't crash. It got to the point where I was living on eggshells at home, and anything I did she would comment on. And at the times I had had enough, I would have a go back at her, and this always turned on me to how I hurt her. I could be a fiery guy when pushed, and she certainly got pushed. What's really going on here? Remember, she settled for you. And being the narcissist that she is now breaking down your barriers, disrespecting you on purpose. She's basically, all of the pain and anger she had from her childhood, she's projecting that onto you. Like you said, you're a hands-on dad. You're doing everything you can. And instead of her showing you respect, which is what a man thrives on, and looking up to you and admiring you, what she's doing is commenting on everything. She's disrespecting, she's taking little comments that break down your self-esteem, because you need to feel respected to feel good about yourself in that relationship. And now it's to the point where you're living on eggshells. It's so difficult for you to cohabitate with her. So what happens is, she pushes you enough times, you eventually push her right back, emotionally speaking. That is what we call reactive abuse. You have been abused enough times by her that you react out of self-defense, and you say or do something horrible, but you stand up for yourself in a negative way, emotionally speaking. So, but because she's so narcissistic, instead of her saying, you know what, I'm sorry for pushing your boundaries, that was rude, now she turns it on you and says how you hurt her, when she's the one who's disrespecting you. Do you see what I'm saying? If you beat a dog enough times, what's going to happen? It's going to bite you back. And that dog isn't biting you with the intention to attack you. It's biting you to defend itself from all the times you've been beating it. And that's what she did to you. She beats you down emotionally, disrespects you, comments on little things, makes it impossible to live with her. And then when you've had enough, you react because you're bottling it all up inside. And then she has the audacity to blame it on you. You, my friend, were dealing with a narcissist. Yeah, you can't have a healthy relationship with someone that lacks empathy, integrity, and compassion. It's not going to happen. So, a big elephant in the room was our sex life after our son was born. Now, I had no problem that it wouldn't be anywhere near the same, but it was just as though a switch was flicked, as we then had basically a sexless marriage. Again, women that are gold diggers, users, that settle with you, they will put the good woman act until you put the ring on it, until they have a child with you or a few kids. And once they feel like they've got enough security and provision, they think they're better than you, they've got you begging for them, they don't care. Because remember, she wasn't with you for you. She's with you for what you could do for her. And now that she's getting what she wants from you, she discards you. Whereas a woman that was with you for you, she would care about your needs. And because she would be physically into you, she would want to be intimate with you too. Huh? Think about it. But because she's not that type of female, and she's gotten what she wants, she discards you like an object. You're just a provisioner. You're just a bank, an ATM machine that pays for all the bills, finances her lifestyle, and maybe once in a while she'll throw you a bone to stop you from begging. That's really what's going on here. So that's why the light switch seems to have flicked in this specific case. So we basically had a sexless marriage. She seemed to enjoy having the doting husband begging for sex, And she's still asking me if I found her sexy and did she look her age. Again, she's not asking that because she cares about what you think. She's asking that so if she decides to go out there and meet another man, that they find her sexy too. Because as a woman ages, she loses her looks. She's going to get less choosing signals from men. She's going to have less guys hit on her and give her the attention she got when she was young and beautiful. Now that she's getting into her 40s, she's not taking good care of herself. She's worrying she can't go out there and get another man. And because she's not even engaging with you in sex, but yet she's asking you, am I still sexy? Do I still look good? That's why she's doing it. To see, okay, do I still have it? Could I still go out there and get someone else? Not because she cares about your opinion. Because if you really cared about your opinion, she'd want to be intimate with you. She would be working out for you to impress you. She'd want to dress sexy for you and dress feminine around you. But she's not doing that because, again, she settled for you. Right? She wasn't what you wanted. And what's sad here, Carl, and for you guys watching, is she seemed to enjoy having the doting husband that was begging for sex. No man of value, no man of integrity is ever going to need to beg his wife for sex. It should never ever be that way. Because guys, when you choose a good woman, she will want to do that with you naturally. Because you're masculine, you're dominant, you lead, she follows, she's into you. She's pair bonded to you, right? She respects you, she feels safe and comfortable. She does love you. That woman, she'll want to be intimate all the time. And if you find yourself in a situation where you have to be begging a woman for intimacy, what type of woman are you with? And again, this goes back to the red flag number 2. She loved having external validation from everyone else. She also loved having someone else give her a compliment. Again, validation. So during Christmas 2.5 years ago, I got her an eternity ring she had gone on about, and we had just remortgaged for 5 years, so things just carried on. See, this is what men that don't understand women think. They have a mindset of, if I provide, if I keep doing more, if I buy her things, if we remortgage and refinance the house, she's not going to go anywhere. That isn't true. Because a real woman, she's going to care about your character. Are you masculine? That's what she needs from you, emotionally speaking. Not just to have security and the finances. That's what a real woman wants from you. But when you're with one of these gold diggers, you will stop providing and buying her things. Guys, you cannot buy or pay for love. That's a transactional relationship. That's not reciprocal. That's not real. But that's what he had going on here. So this ex-wife of yours is constantly disrespecting you. She wants validation from other men. She's not meeting your needs. And you're buying her an eternity ring because she asked for it. So in essence, by you buying her this eternity ring, what you do is enable her behavior. And you communicate to her subconsciously that, oh, I can treat this guy like a dog. I can walk all over him and he's still going to buy things for me. It's just going to make it get worse. And it was just after this that she joined a gym. So he buys her an eternity ring. They remortgage their property for the next 5 years. And now all of a sudden, she starts joining the gym, losing lots of weight, and she looked very good, as she was always a pretty girl. And now she looked good for 42. I was still the overweight husband on 44, but was pleased for her and encouraged her fitness regime. Remember, this woman is in a sexless marriage. She's not engaging in intimacy with her husband. So why is she all of a sudden working out and wanting to look pretty? Because she sure as hell ain't doing it for Carl. As we got nearer to the summer, something changed about her. She had this didn't care attitude, and she was also going through tests for multiple sclerosis, which she had been diagnosed with, unfortunately. She started smoking again, which she had given up since before her son, and now she was drinking as well. And anytime I said anything, such as smoking is really bad and is not really good for multiple sclerosis, she would tell me that she had had enough of people telling me what to do, and it felt really strange. She was friends with a really nice girl, one of our neighbors, and my son was friends with their son, and they went to school together. So my ex-wife started to go around there, but this is where she started lying. I would say, do you really need to go around there again? And she would say, oh, I think Kate wants to chat. But then the next day I would ask my son, and he would tell me, oh, Katie wasn't there. It was just his friend's dad. So Carl's wife at the time isn't going to the house of her friend to be with her friend, but instead to interact with the husband. This is when the betrayal starts. Emotional cheating. Because remember, children don't lie. Kids are honest. They've got no filter. They have no boundaries. They say what's on their mind. So when he asks his son, he's honest enough and says, oh, my friend's mum isn't there. It's the husband. So now he's thinking, uh-oh. So this happened a few times, but I turned a blind eye. I didn't want to see what my gut was telling me, because as a dad, we have so much to lose. So I just put it aside. And I downplayed it to hopefully they were just both friends. It is true. If you have children, if you're married, you've got property, you've got everything, you have a lot to lose. And a lot of men do this. They put it to the side. I don't want to admit it's real. I saw this with my uncle. When his wife was been cheating on him for years. Everybody knew it. Eventually they got divorced recently, but everybody knew it. And he just wanted to downplay it because he had a lot to lose. You've got a family. But this is the price you pay when you marry the wrong woman. Okay? That's reality. Carl's gut was telling him something's not right here, but he downplayed it. There was one night where she had a night out and I didn't hear from her from 10 p.m. till 3 p.m. When the taxi dropped her off up the road, as I heard the car but couldn't really see it. And as she stumbled in, I quizzed her, but she said, oh, the taxi just dropped her off the road. And when I asked her why, because you don't like walking in the dark, she simply said that she was drunk and went to bed. Good girls, good women are not out having girls' night, drinking, going clubbing, or coming home at 3, 4 in the morning when they're in a relationship. Good women come home to you every night. And for the ladies watching, good men come home to you as well. This also reminds me of when I was in England as a kid with my cousin and my brother. We'd be playing on the PlayStation when we were kids, 2 in the morning. My parents, my uncle, they were all asleep. And my auntie, who was a cheater, would go out in her tight dress and she'd disappear into the night, right? She'd come back 3, 4 in the morning. The taxi would drop her off the road. She'd walk in and my cousin would say, Mummy, who's that man in the car? And she'd say, oh, he's just the taxi man. Are you sure about that? And then we all found out what she was doing. Just like this. This is what bad women do, guys. Dropped her off the road. Why? Why? Because if he's a taxi, he should be dropping her right in front of the door. Especially if she's inebriated and intoxicated. She should be as close to the door as possible so she can get in safely. Common sense. Another time, she came back from the neighbours, again, half drunk. And when I called her out on it, she got defensive and said, oh, he just gave me a couple of wines. I've done nothing. She then also mentioned him more. Oh, I bet he earns good money as a welder. Again, the gold digger's coming out inside of her, right? Because remember, narcissistic women, they will never get into a relationship to love a man, to honor him, to be with a man and submit to him and follow his lead and build a family with proper values. Women that are narcissistic, due to the fact that their inner child is so wounded and they lack that empathy, they can't connect with others on a deep emotional level. Therefore, they can never experience love. They can only use people because they see other individuals as objects that they use to self-regulate their emotions. They don't really form attachments and bonds like normal people like you or I do. That is why she's talking about him in such a way. Oh, I bet he earns good money as a welder. He could be a good provisioner. Even though she's attracted to that guy, she never really builds an attachment. Narcissists never ever do build attachments. Understand that. Then she carries on and says, oh, he skydives. So now, not only is she betraying her husband, but she's throwing this guy in his face. Carl, she didn't respect you at all. Then we even had a school get together at our local park and they did a sack barrel race. He was in it too. I fell over and he beat me. My ex-wife looked at me on the floor and said, "You only fell over because you were losing." I look back at that and see that my ex-wife had no respect for me or attraction and had him lined up as my replacement. Bingo. You figured it out. And that's exactly what was going on. A woman that respects you guys, even if you fail at something, she's going to be your biggest cheerleader. She's going to be your biggest support. Let me tell you something. The husband, the father, he's the head of the house. But the mother and the wife, she's the heart of that home. As long as she's feminine. And this woman, she should be supporting her man and say to him, "You know what? It's okay that you failed. You'll get it next time. You did very well." But instead, she looks down at him like he's a dog and says, "You only fell over because you were losing." Many, many, many red flags. So the summer went on and she tried to act normal. Sending nice messages, planning the year after the holiday. But then she became even more abusive, especially in front of people, talking down to me. Obviously starting to paint me in a bad light, as she knew I would react because, like anyone, I can't stand being spoken to like that, especially when I've done nothing wrong. Absolutely. The only type of women that will talk down to you in public are going to be women that have not only serious personality disorders, but women that lack respect in you. Because, look, she can fight with you in private, but if she's bringing it into the public, this is a woman that doesn't even see you as a human being. She really just sees you as a toy to play with. Because any woman that has just a sliver of empathy for you is going to know, okay, it's kind of inappropriate if I start arguing with him in front of everybody else. This is a bit wrong, rude. And it also makes her look bad too, right? So we came to one night and I had a go at her for smoking. She immediately said that she isn't happy and wants to separate. No talking about it, and said that I can move to my mother's after Christmas and that our son will be fine and that I can see him as much as I want, that we need to sort out the money. And then she also said to him, "And let's also have a glass of wine." Again, damaged women. They drink, they smoke, they ruin their bodies. This is literally 5 minutes after her telling me all this. So Christmas came and I asked her, "Is there someone else?" And she said, "No one. We just don't get along. It's best for our son." I immediately went into survival mode, lost loads of weight through stress, went from a 38 waist to nearly 32. I started dressing well, hit the weights again, and went back to martial arts. Unfortunately, at first, this was to win my wife back. Yep, the usual mistake, I know. She obviously noticed and would occasionally flirt and give me messages, and even on Christmas, she sat on me and stimulated her riding me, which is very narcissistic that I can see. Yeah, she was trying to tease you and play with you, but the good thing is that you had to go into survival mode for you to change. Remember, adversity, challenge, this is how you grow your masculinity as a man. And for you, the adversity you were facing was the divorce, the breakdown of your marriage. So now you're snapped out of this fantasy, you see things for what they are, and you realize, I made a mistake here. I need to get my life back in order. You start to lose weight. You go back to being the man you were before your wife started abusing the crap out of you. And sometimes you need that as a man for you to grow, for you to come out of that stronger, right? Diamonds are made under pressure, right? That's just the way it is. I even sent her a heartfelt email saying what this could do to her son, and that losing our property, which was a nice detached bungalow, and how this could affect our families, because I was close to her mum, and since she's close to the stepdad and the real dad who had given us the big deposit for our home, this could cause problems. Her response to my email was horrible, as I mentioned her illness and how it could affect her brain nerves. And she was acting so irrational, and none of this made any sense. But she just sneered her nose up and said that is not her illness. Very narcissistic indeed. Because remember, this woman looks down on him, right? She doesn't respect him. She doesn't love him. She was just using him. So anything he says is disregarded, in one ear, out the other, as the old saying goes. So I eventually moved back to my parents, and it broke my son's heart, as him and I had this amazing bond. But she just carried on, and still, I didn't find anyone else involved. This one time, now you want to pay attention, guys, I had to pop back to the bungalow. But one night after the gym, I texted her, there was no reply. So I just turned up, knocked at our gates. She came out, all done up at 10 p.m. at night. As I needed to go in, this is when she became sheepish. But as I walked into the living room, there was a big plate of half-eaten Chinese takeaway and 4 cans of Strongbow. And she doesn't even drink Strongbow. And also a rucksack. For any of you that don't know, Strongbow is a beer. I don't drink anymore. I quit years back when I was 19, but I know what it is. So for any of you who don't know, there's takeaway, Chinese takeaway, there's 4 cans of beer, and there's a rucksack. Clearly she had someone over. And since it's alcohol, I'm pretty sure her son didn't have a buddy over, little Jimmy over, to have a little sleepover. It was most likely a grown man that she was sleeping with. I asked if she had company and of whose was the rucksack, and she said, no, I'm on my own, that I had an injection for my multiple sclerosis and I feel a bit washed out. If this had happened, being the bloke that I am now, the rucksack would have been emptied and I would have found out who was obviously hiding in my house. But I was still in broken husband mode and I didn't want to look jealous, so I let myself believe her. Guys, that doesn't make you look jealous if you stand up for your dignity, for your integrity, and you call out your partner who's betraying you. That is not jealous at all. You know? And I mean, think about that. She's got multiple sclerosis. That's her excuse. She has an injection for her illness. And her response is to have a rucksack in the living room, order Chinese takeout, and drink 4 beers by herself after she's been injected with medication. Hello, McFly? Wake up. Right? You knew exactly what was going on. That was me. I would have definitely found out that guy. Not only kicked her out, kicked him out. And you try and get custody. You got to stand up for yourself. You got to have the balls to do that. Because if a woman walks over you once, it gets worse over time. And when you let her do that, you weaken yourself. Your strength, your virility will fade away. But again, obviously he knows if he was the man that he was now, he would have ripped that thing apart and found that guy and sorted the whole situation out. Carrying on. So he said, I let myself believe her. Even though I knew. Well, the following month of April, I got a text saying a couple things about my son. And then at the bottom of the text, she said that she had been asked out by Luke, which is her friend's husband. What a coinkydink. I immediately rang her and said, why would her friend's husband ask her out? And then she just said, oh, I don't know. They had a breakup and we haven't sorted it yet. I confronted her when I picked up my son. And I said, it all makes sense now. You and your little friend from last year. To which she replied, I don't know what you're talking about. I said I would look into it, and she simply said, whatever. What a nice lady she is, right? Ah, well, this is the price you pay. This is the price you pay indeed. She then sent a manipulative text saying, I was just being honest that someone had asked me out, and I expect you to do the same. The day before, she was quizzing me and mentioned, if I have a date. And that, oh, I don't mind. Because remember, because she went behind his back and she's lined up this guy, since she's a cheater, she thinks everybody else cheats. So she's asking him, Are you dating? Are you with anyone? So even if let's say Carl moved on and was with another woman, then she would feel less guilty for what she did to him because she knows he's completely innocent. And that's the karma with cheaters and narcissistic individuals, is because they don't have a valid reason to dump you and they're too insecure to move on and heal by themselves. Due to the fact that they have to line someone up and betray you, that stays with them for the rest of their life like a dark cloud, and they can't get rid of it. So to try and absolve herself from that guilt, she'll push it back down using healthy coping mechanisms, but it will always be there with her. And this is why she's asking him questions. Have you dated anyone? Because if he were to move on with another woman, at least she would feel a little bit better about herself that, well, even though I betrayed him, he's got someone else to keep him happy, right? However, her little fantasy is about to fizzle out very, very soon, as we're about to see. I then asked her for her friend's number, right? And this is the wife that she was originally friend with, that Katie woman. She gave it to me, but then later sent me a text saying that we need to talk. I said, what about? And she said everything. We had a 1 hour long phone call. I had a 1 hour long phone call with the friend, Katie. And she said that the husband, Luke, had left her the week before my ex-wife had left me. My ex-wife had never told me this, as she said they were only neighbours and friends, after all. As soon as they had left us, they were meeting up. Wow, like attracts like, doesn't it? So Carl's ex-wife betrays him with the husband of her friend, and they're neighbours. 2 cheaters together, right? 2 peas in a pod. Isn't that sweet? 2 cheaters having a lovely relationship. That's going to end swell, isn't it? They deserve each other. As soon as they had left us, they were meeting up. When the kids were on play dates, my ex-wife even got a second job in a pub where he worked. Oh, she just wants to spend more time with her new man. Katie had texted me that about my ex, and even though we were friends, she said that he was begging to come back and threatening her in front of the kids about to not pay for them. And letting the kids down. My ex knew this, but she still carried on with him. They both denied anything and said they were just friends. When I confronted my wife, she told me that she was just caught up in the middle of them, which is total rubbish. She was just gaslighting me, 100%. So the year went on and I carried on working on myself, going to the gym, reading good books, good mental, physical health. I discovered the red pill side of things. I learnt about intersex dynamics, and now I know that all women are not like her, but when you have lost so much as a married father, it is easy to see guys going MGTOW, unfortunately. MGTOW is very toxic. It's like feminism, but for men. Right? Because it's very unfair to say all women are the same, because there are good women out there. Just how it's unfair for a lady to say all men are the same, when there's good men out there too. Obviously, as I was a regular at my son's school, there were plenty of divorced mothers who would obviously like what they saw. I had a couple who wanted to meet me for play dates, amongst other things. I could have easily fought with my other head and got involved, but I resisted with my big head, as these were unfortunately women who had divorced their husbands for that much, and they were struggling to meet anyone else out there for anything other than sex. Now my ex-wife got wind of this as a little fantasy had fizzled out, and her little bad boy had other women on the go, and ended up moving on with someone else. It never ends well for a cheater. Anything you build with lies, with deceit, with manipulation, with betrayal, will always crumble down. Whether it's in the short term or the long term, it will happen. Her relationship with her friend's husband started from a place of betrayal, from his end and her end. If they're both cheaters, eventually someone's going to cheat. And what happened? Now, The new guy she's with is going off with other women. Uh-oh, her new man that was going to rescue her has suddenly left her. So we had and also that had failed. So even when that guy Luke tried to move on with another woman, that also failed. And he was still causing trouble with the ex and her new partner. So the lady Katie met another man as well. We had my son's 8th birthday and he had some of his mates for a sleepover. He asked if I could come over, so I did. We got back after our football match. I'm my son's football coach. Awesome. You're involved in his life. Good role model. Perfect. And as soon as I got in the door, my ex-wife was all over me, rubbing my arms and my shoulders deeply, looking into my eyes, leaning against me as the other kids were being dropped off. Man, she is one Jezebel. Look how manipulative she is after everything she's done to you. Now that the other guy's disappeared, she's got nothing going for her. Now she's trying to be sweet to you. Manipulation 101. This is a 304. This is some damaged goods right here. Man, this is what happens, guys. You don't want this to be you. So this carried on all day. And then one of the other mums, which was a mutual friend, said, you both are going to end up in bed together. And I said, no, it's a no from me. Well, bedtime came and she offered me some gin and asked where I wanted to sleep. But I said, I don't mind. She came back and said in a sexy voice, I will sleep in the same bed, but no touching or I might have to hit you. I looked her in the eyes and said, no thanks, I don't want to touch you. Can I get an amen in the comments for Karl March because he finally got his balls back. They suddenly started to grow. Your testosterone started flowing right back into your veins. This is the moment he got his strength back. I'm going to repeat that one more time. I looked her in the eye and said, no thanks, I don't want to touch you. This was a guy who not so long ago was begging his wife for sex. And now, don't even want to touch you. I have never felt so powerful as a man because I'd spent most of my married life as the needy, desperate for sex and validation husband. Her face was a picture. You screenshot that. By now, I was getting the sob story, how she struggles on her own, and she keeps getting other girls up to school telling her how hot her ex is for a man in his 40s. Of course, Karl, you're in amazing shape. You're masculine. You've done the work on yourself. You got your strength back. You got your self-esteem. You got that swagger again. That charisma's flowing. Other women are noticing. Now, your damaged ex-wife that betrayed you, who has no man in her life, is finding out the hard way that she just lost the best man she would ever have. She asked me one night if I still loved her, and that would I still sleep with her, and do I think she's a nice person? There was so much turmoil going on in her head that she was doing irrational things that she ran out of fuel, and one day she got into a guy's car for a lift to the petrol station. She would have never done this before. Now she's become desperate. So fast forward to the first COVID lockdown, and that I was still waiting for a property to be sorted out. I was still at my parents', unfortunately, as they were older. So it made sense under my ex to be sorted. It made sense under my ex-wife's invitation that we would sort something out and then I would go back to the family home. Okay. Obviously my son loved it, as he had struggled enormously with this. So it was like his family back together, which he told me all the time he wanted. Absolutely. As soon as I moved back, my ex-wife started to try get me back. There was a message on Facebook that somebody showed me. Karl says here that he's not a Facebooker. Neither am I. I deleted Facebook last year. I had it for years, but I got rid of it. Don't use it. And the message said, one of these life quotes, which goes, in quote, never ignore someone who loves you, cares for you, and misses you, as you might miss the moon whilst looking for the stars, end quote. She also started asking if I was sexually frustrated during the lockdown, as she is also And she was also trying to pull me into the family life, asking me to get into bed with her. Right, so now, because nobody wants her, she's trying to get her ex-husband back. Asking him if he's sexually frustrated. Keep in mind, she never gave him sex, and now she's trying to offer it. It's still transactional. Even if you slept with her, it would still always be fake. It would be a transaction, something you're paying for in validation, not from love or genuine desire. That's never worth it. But again, he's on semen retention, he's not snooping around, he's not releasing his seed, he's not leading with his lust anymore. He doesn't need that. And when you guys get to that place mentally and emotionally, you don't need sex. It should only be reserved for one woman in your life that you're intimate with. If not, don't do it. So now he's got his strength back, and his ex-wife is starting to panic. So she would also hoover around at night, trying to talk to me, always asking if she wanted me to say something. I remember one night she came into the front room with a little short dress on, asking me if she's still okay, if she still looks good in it. Again, she wants validation because no other men are giving it to her because she's losing her looks. Good riddance. It was pretty obvious what she was after. She was always quizzing me on my dating life, asking who I'd slept with up to school, and she pretended she wasn't bothered, but you could see she hated it. But now you're in your frame. You're not letting her pull you out of that. You're centered in your masculinity. You don't care about her. You care about yourself. Now the dynamic has flipped. So as the lockdown started to change, I left the home more, but she would seem disappointed and say, "Who are you off to see, your girlfriend?" I also remember the Christmas before, I'd had a go about how she had treated her friend, and she even went around hers and told her that she needs to be bigger about all of this and to put her kids first. And when her friend told her where to go, she tried to turn the sympathy card on her and saying, "Oh, I don't need all of this. I fell out with my dad and I have multiple sclerosis." This was common when she didn't get her way, the same way she would turn on me. So when she goes to confront Katie, her friend who she cheated on her husband, so she slept with her friend's husband, when she goes to talk to her, her friend tells her basically, get lost, calls her out for what she did, for who she is as a person, and she gets all offended and says, "Oh, I've had enough in my life. I fell out with my daddy issues, and I've had multiple sclerosis." As if that's some type of excuse for being a cheater, right? Not, again, narcissistic Jezebel women. There you go. So we are now divorced, and as you can imagine, it was all this made-up rubbish that she would say. She would mention that I was unbearable to live with, and when I confronted her, she said that I had to put something, in the divorce filing. And I said to her, "Why don't you mention, since you forgot to say, that you tried to monkey branch to your friend's slimy husband?" Right? Damn, Carl really picked his balls up, and he really told her straight. That's very well said. Because she's trying to look for a reason as to say why she divorced you. Oh, she's unhappy. Oh, she tried to make up that Carl gambled, that he was unbearable to live with, which is all fake. But she never forgot to mention, she forgot to mention the fact that she cheated on him. She betrayed him, right? Wow. So looking back, Christian, as I can see, the red flags from her life are there. And she told me that no one has ever left her. And I also found out that when we first started dating, she lived in New Zealand for 3 years with her auntie. So I really want you guys to pay attention, because this is the end of the video when you're going to see the real root cause of her behavior. So she moved to New Zealand for 3 years with her auntie, right? Many years ago. She had at least 13 one-night stands, and this was always the bad boy type that had girlfriends. She had always gotten herself in trouble, but again, not knowing the red flags, I believed her when she said she's not like that anymore. Now you guys understand why at the very beginning, why she made him wait 6 months to be intimate. She was giving off an image that she was a good woman without being a real good woman. Basically, a wolf in sheep's clothing. This is how she deceived Carl. So she's lost the ability to pair bond. She slept around. And not only did she do that, but all of those dudes she slept with had girlfriends. They were in relationships. So she enjoys the challenge of pulling a man away from his woman. And now it makes sense, her behavior, of how she ruined her marriage with Carl. Because not only did she betray Carl, but this was a married man she partook in. She ruined somebody else's marriage as well. So she goes from screwing around with men that have girlfriends to screwing around with men that have wives. I mean, this woman is the epitome of a cheater. Blimey, you can see. And did she change? No, she got worse. Let this be a lesson to all. She graduated from, oh, these men have girlfriends, let me sleep with them, to getting a master's degree in sleeping with men that have a wife. She's become very good at this over the years, clearly. You don't want to be with a woman like this, guys. The ladies, avoid men that do this with women. So, carrying on, he said, I hope this makes sense and I hope my grammar isn't too bad, but this is a hell of a mess and unfortunately my son will find out one day, as he is still friendly with the other kids at the same school. Now, the other guy's a joke of a dad, but exactly the sort of man my broken ex-wife would cheat with. Thanks for reading this, and please feel free to use this on your great channel and let me know when you do. It's going live right now. I would say I still suffer at times from anger, but I know when I eventually get my property, I can really move on. Even though losing my lovely home that I lived in permanently with my son is the hardest thing ever. On the plus side, I know I'm now very much in shape, so I've been told a few times that I'm pretty good looking for my age. That's going to really boost your self-esteem. I've got a good redundancy last year and I got an even better paid job. Good for you. I've been a paint sprayer in the motor trade for 31 years. So physically, financially, and even spiritually, I feel good. My bond with my son gets even better over time. You still have a chance to be present in his life. Be a father, be a good man, raise him well. Okay? Be there for him in his early years and he will develop to be a great guy. And of course you teach him what to avoid when he gets older and what to look for. But on the other hand, my ex-wife has put all of her weight back on and looks a washed up 46-year-old single mum with multiple sclerosis. Having to work all hours, she got made redundant from her business travel consultant job. She's now a home carer, up early, and also has 2 pub jobs, which with her multiple sclerosis absolutely shatters her. But this is the life she's left with. Maybe she will find some beta to take her on. Myself, my dating life, when I can eventually be bothered with, will be separate from my son, as I have no desire to play stepdad. It will just be fun casual dating. So yeah, I know I'd rather be me than my ex-wife. Her stepdad is livid with her as I speak, and as I speak, she has fallen out with her mother once again. Her dad knows nothing of what really happened, as he would go up the wall, and I'm still on really good terms with him. Thanks again, mate. Regards, Carl. Well, guys, this is, I think, the longest video I've made so far. This has been a very intense breakdown on monkey branching. If you're a young man watching, be very cautious of the woman you choose. Do not lead with your lust, down here. Lead with your brain, your reasoning. Okay, keep your standards high, keep your integrity intact, take things very slow, pay attention to the red flags. And for the men that have been through a similar situation such as Carl's, there's still hope for you. You can still move on and heal and find someone else. Look how it worked out for Carl. He managed to move on, he feels better about himself, and he got his confidence back. And that can be you too, right? There's always a chance to move on and have a much better life. Now that I mentioned that quote at the beginning of the video, I'm going to end it on that too. Proverbs 14 verse 1 from the Bible. A wise woman builds her home, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands. And that is exactly what Carl's ex-wife did to her own family. She destroyed it with her own hands. She never learned from the mistakes she'd made in her early years, sleeping around, stealing men away from their girlfriends. She ruined a marriage. She ruined her own marriage. And now she's old. She's lost her beauty, her youth, her fertility. She's working 2 to 3 jobs. Nobody wants her. She can never get her ex-husband back. She's smoking, she's drinking, and she gets along very bad with her own mother, her stepfather, and her father knows nothing of it. This is what happens to people that betray and hurt others. It never ever ends well for them in the long run. So the best revenge is to live your own life, become a much better person, move on, forgive and let go. And that's all you can do. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you're a new subscriber, by all means, hope you enjoy the content, subscribe. There's many other videos to watch on my channel. And for all of you that have been long-term subscribers, I want to thank all of you for the love and support. It means the world to me. And if any of you would like to reach out to me privately, share a similar story such as Carl's, or any other questions you would like me to answer, or if you would like to book a coaching call, or the email description will be down below in the description and in the About tab on the YouTube channel. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.